Hold on one second. My my earpiece is a little tangled up right now. Alright, don't know how that got tangled, but sure. Okay. Just adjusting my dashboards around on my computer screen nearby. Seriously, have you ever had like an earpiece for your MP3 player or something and it just like somehow gets tangled up? Seriously. Hey, Go Border. So, this is going to be a community run. I haven't gotten the stone plate ring yet. It's also going to be a lore through. So we're gonna take it slugs slow, just a little bit. Why am I like not online? It's so weird. Yeah. Okay, so let me just check something real fast. I should be online. Okay, so that's just really weird, and just going to attribute that to Dark Souls. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to just quickly go over is I know some people were probably going to correct me in the comments or something, but the fact that FROMSoft kind of made seriously, thanks B Team. B Team stands for best team. If I had the characters at Twitch, I would have put that in there. But the thing about Scholar of the First Sin in particular is that making a revision of a game at FromSoft isn't actually a new thing for FromSoft. They do that a lot with Armored Core, and then they have these like really fancy titles for Armored Core. For instance, Armored Core 4 is the mainline title, and then they released Armored Core For Honor, which is the revision, and Armored Core 5, which uses the Roman numeral for 5. They released the revision, which is Armored Core Verdict Day. So yeah, they do that a lot with Armored Core, and I guess they wanted to just do that with Dark Souls 2. So I guess that's where that comes from. It's actually not a new thing for FromSoft. So Scholar of the First Sin is pretty similar to like For Honor or Verdict Day or anything like that. But since Armored Core isn't as big, like their community is super awesome, and I was digging through Armored Core podcasts the other day. There's one I retweeted on my Twitter, and they're pretty great community, but it wasn't really known to like the Souls community how that worked out. So hey Hunter M, what's going on? So let's start a new game and go over the opening cinematic. I don't have all the answers. Let me just make this disclaimer. I don't have all the answers. I'm just a smartass on YouTube. So if you have thoughts or theories or whatever, you know, throw them out there. Nice to see you, Hunter M.
Perhaps you've seen it, maybe in a dream, a murky, forgotten land. A place where souls may mend your ailing mind. You will lose everything.
David Lynch is really jealous of this opening cinematic, by the way.
The symbol of the curse. An augur of darkness. Your past, your future.
Even apples.
Your very light. None will have meaning, and you won't even care. By
I'm gonna check that for you,
you'll be
Tangerine.
something other than human. A thing that feeds on souls. A hollow. Long ago, in a walled-off land far to the north,
The apple thing in the opening cinematic isn't like just a random apple. Apples actually have some symbolism with death cults, at least in like ancient Greece and stuff like that. Let me turn this down a little bit more.
One day, you will stand before its decrepit gate without
is
really
like
knowing why.
there's an apple island. Now I'm remembering this offhand, but like a place where the dead go is in like an apple island. Avalon, they call it Avalon, which has like some relations in root words with apples and stuff like that. So apples not only are a symbol of forbidden knowledge gained, see also the land of Eden, but there's also some death symbolism attached to apples that I don't think people remember a lot of the time. And I think it's also a feminine word in Romance languages to recount Eden and stuff like that too. So I don't think that was just put in there just randomly. Apples. Even though this opening cinematic is probably the artsiest Dark Souls ever gets.
Like a moth drawn to a flame.
Like, I know I made fun of this in when I was going in New Game Plus. That, look, it's a dark sign, and he jumps into the dark sign. That's why they show it again. Look, eyes are dark signs.
For that is your fate.
Side note, Uzumaki had a character get really obsessed with spirals. And he saw spirals and everything. And me joking about that reminds me of that. Look, the dark sign swallows him, or imbibes him. We do not imbibe the blood. Sorry, I just came off of Bloodborne. Yeah. Look, it's our Demon Souls reference right here. That's actually a few Demon Souls references in Dark Souls too. They don't get really mentioned. The Demon Souls reference here is this structure that you wake up in. In Demon Souls' tutorial area, you leave through the Archstone to get your butt kicked by Vanguard, and it looks just like this. Like, if this was Demon Souls, the Archstone would be right here. Yeah. Pilgrims of the Dark. So, similar looking pillars from Bloodborne and stuff like that. A lot of Dark Souls 2 seems to take place within mountains or underground. It doesn't take place sort of above ground, like, at all. And even when it's above ground, you're traversing your way back underground a lot of the time. And it could be because of they were masking loading of your backgrounds in Skyboxes, but you know how it is. Completely covers you because you have not it full hollows a person. So let's go. In New Game Plus and beyond, there's falconers all over here. Like, they're lying in wait to catch you. So they obviously know that that thing, that this dais over here is pretty importante. Another thing I wanted to say is we are some guy. I appreciate the idea of just starting out and like running and then reclaiming yourself through character gen. Now I like that idea. Not sure how much it is, you know, it works, but I like the idea. Now these guys are jerks. New Game Plus, there's a Black Phantom ambush right here. Yeah. Like, you're claiming your identity throughout the entire game. And there's some bits of selfishness in there, and the opening cinematic has makes me think that this all is sort of a fever dream. I'm gonna get a weapon before I go tangle with him. And so, it kind of makes me wonder if it was kind of a fever dream of your hollow. So let's... Dark Souls 2's wrong thing. I love the emote system in Dark Souls 2. It's so good. Alright, sorry. So you start off with the dark sign. An accursed mark, the dark sign induces death, returning the player to the last bonfire rested at the cost of all souls held. Do what you must to gather the pieces, scraping them into some semblance of a whole, before the will to do so fades. And you start with your black separation crystal, a symbol of farewells that has been passed down since time immemorial. The crystal sends phantoms back to their homes, or sends you back to yours. Whether ending in hope or despair, encounters are valuable experiences. Beware fickle use of this item. And Bone of Order. You will be punished for fleeing from other worlds by disconnecting unjustly. However, this charm will disperse the ire directed at you. But sins are not easily buried, and there's no telling if you will be let off so easily next time. Each encounter in life is a precious turn of fate, and fate will not be cheated. Now, that's interesting language because of Fina, who was fate and stuff like that, wasn't she? Or am I misremembering that? It spins Fina in a different light in that little sentence there. The cursed souls who wander the lands have a strange way of ending up here, as if drawn from afar by some force. That's a very Demon Souls thing. It's a more overt force in Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 1, you're kind of not really drawn, but you're like sent to the asylum and you're like whatever. But in Demon Souls particularly, you're drawn by the colorless fog and by greed, basically. And greed is very important to understand throughout all 4 Souls games. It's a theme that Miyazaki himself likes talking about a lot, especially through patches. Let's see if there's anything different here. So, like, it also makes me wonder whether this was indeed kind of a fever dream of your dying mind. And mostly because the Lynchian opening cinematic. So let's claim our identity.
What seems to be the ruckus? Oh my, your face. The face of the curse. It's an undead.
Hey, Eagle Border, welcome back.
An undead has come to play. They all end up here. All the ones like you. You spoke to that kind old dear, didn't you?
So there's been some theories whether the 3 women here are more the Fates or the Furies or both of them, and if they have any. And I wonder if they have some connection to Fina because of fate and stuff like that. And fate and death don't like being cheated. And Fina's very fickle.
This is the fate of the cursed. What is your name?
Alright, you guys. Let's see here. Name. I always forget to, like, figure out a name before I start here.
It's a human effigy. Take a closer look.
Hey, if I needed to sit around and, like,
I think it's supposed to
wait
be
in between worlds
Think
like you are,
deep into your past.
I'd rather live within a tree,
Yes.
just like these girls.
It's an effigy of you.
Now, I used to kind of think that the effigy, the human effigy, looked like somebody wove a bunch of copper together, but it actually looks a bit like a tree. Like tiny little tree roots put together. So there's the tree thing again. Which is probably super... Which comes up a couple more times in Dark Souls 3, is what I wanted to get to. That's fine. It's fine. Man, I love that in Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne you can hit the R1 L2 button. That's fine. Whatever. Nah. Yo, I hear you like trees and roots and stuff, so we put trees and roots and stuff within your trees and roots and stuff. So that everybody can argue about your trees and roots and stuff for a while. And by the way, if you wanted to ask something about Dark Souls 3 in particular, or how Dark Souls 3 relates to Dark Souls 2, we can talk about that too. This is gonna just happen really fast. Man, why is the nose so... Like, that's fine. But it's just... These are all nostril stuff. Whatever. The nose has kind of always bothered me in Dark Souls 2, but I can't figure out how to make it thinner, so whatever. Let's go with our classes and gifts. Trees are at the root of everything. Oh gosh. Kind of half started a swordsman, but I only got through like the first boss a while ago. What do you guys suggest? No, not deprived, please, thank you. I love the explorer look, but it only starts with a dagger and sigh. I love puns. Just you know, throw them out there. But let's go over the classes while I'm thinking about what I want to do. Battle started warrior, high strength, dexterity, skilled with weapons. Comes with a broken sword and a shield. I don't usually play with the shield, so we'll consider that. Knight, which is what I started with my platinum run. It's a traveling knight. He looks like a falconer. But he doesn't have a pet, which is rip me. Swordsman. 2 swords. I actually prefer this one. Neat outfit. Finely skilled swordsman. Fights gracefully with strong weapons in both hands. You have the bandit, which is ridiculous and awesome. Comes with an axe. Merciless outlaw. Cleric on pilgrimage. Now the difference here is they're not wearing, well, it's blue technically, but it's very light blue. And there's no turtle shell in the back, but you do get a big cloak. Sorcerers. Knowledgeable sorcerer, casts sorceries with high intelligence and attunement. Explorer, which has a neat outfit. Well-traveled explorer, comes with a monocle. Yeah, bandit has like no intelligence. It's like 2 intelligence and whatever. It also has really bad ADP, and while I really like Dark Souls 2, ADP is a mistake. Jesus. Yeah. Any suggestions before I just choose one? Yeah, I mean, I was fine. ADP, I think, is more like a tax before you actually get to build. Putting 20 levels in is fine, but getting 105, which is around 30 levels, is okay too. But I played most of my first run at 20 levels, and then I shoved another 10 in later. It's just kind of a tax considering how fast you gain levels in Dark Souls 2. It's way faster than Dark Souls 1 and 3. Okay, I do come with a knife. It's just not in the thing. As much as I can complain about that, I was watching some Kingsfield and Shadow Tower LPs a little while ago, and there's like way more stats in both of those. There's like Spirit in Kingsfield, and I consider Dark Souls 2 really close to Kingsfield 4, actually. The giants look exactly the same in Kingsfield 4 as they look in Dark Souls 2, except with more polygons, for instance. Alright, I'm gonna go with Sorcerer. Let's go with that. Sorcerer shouldn't be too bad. But I like the idea of claiming your identity in character gen, although it's a little weird that you do it after the opening cinematic.
You're no different, I should think. Doesn't stand a chance.
I want to get Kingsfield 4. I have a PS2. I would still need to get an Elgato so I can stream it, but... The PS2 is sitting in the basement. In its box.
keep you from going hollow. Oh, I'll fool you no longer. You lose your souls. All of them. Over and over again.
Yep. Obviously, you're very legal and not entirely ISO'd King's Guild 4. Yep. I need to see if my computer will even run the PS2 emulator. You may balk, but if you know my computer, it's a 2009 Intel Quad-Core 2 processor, but it's got an integrated graphics card. It doesn't allow OpenGL. It's really old. Why is my... Oh, they put it there. I'm gonna put it here. Let's go and explore a little bit. There's one thing I wanted to see if I could do. Yeah, I have a link to that, a bookmark to that ISO. I just wanted to see if I could actually run the PS2. It's just, my computer is the epitome of potato. Like, I was making a joke. Are you gonna... So there's the stone ring. Yeah, it's Shadow Tower Abyss is very interesting. It's like the guy gets pulled in by by death itself or something like that at the beginning, and you've got like a gun and you've got a sword for reasons. So we picked up a ring for beating that troll. I'm actually really sad we don't see the trolls in Dark Souls 3. So beloved ring of the gallant shieldless Lothian, formerly of Ferosa. Now, I always kind of thought that the name Lothian kind of reminds me of Lothric, but maybe just my imagination. Greatly reduces enemy poise. The effect may seem trivial, but for those who comprehend how critical it is to exploit a hole in enemy defenses, the significance of this ring will be clear. Unless you're in Dark Souls 3, where there's no poise. Yeah, like, there's Echo Knight Beyond, which takes place in the future, actually. The Echo Knight franchise is sort of FromSoft's Final Fantasy of ghost stories. Echo Knight 1, which you can get on the PS3 and Vita, it takes place in, like, 1900s on a train, and then I forget where Echo Knight 2, Lord of Nightmares is, and then Echo Knight Beyond takes place on the moon, of all places. Rip, no bonfires. Just gonna reload my my spells. Now, Echo Night Beyond is really interesting. I actually really like the ideas in Echo Night Beyond. Richard, who is FROMTropes' #1 protagonist until Dark Souls, or Demon Souls. He's not in Demon Souls. He's in Dark Souls, but he's an NPC. Richard is like, I have a fiance, and she went up to the moon, and she died, and I have to go there too, and she sent me a letter. Oh yeah, FromSoft has, like... Don't underestimate FromSoft's gallows humor. They love them their gallows humor. Apparently, Miyazaki is, like, fits right in, because he's got, like, super gallows humor. Sort of Yoko Taro-ish, and... Except Yoko Taro is way more self-effacing. Ha! Like, they keep their ragdolls the way they are because they think that they are funny. That's FromSoft for you. They are most certainly correct. So, like I mentioned earlier, we are pretty much underground for a lot of Dark Souls 2. Who told you guys to do that? By the way, I think the Shadow of the Colossus remake runs on the Bloodborne Dark Souls 3 engines. Fun fact, I guess. I was just staring at the trailer because I'm super excited of the Shadow of the Colossus remake. And I'm like, this looks a bit like the Bloodborne engine. Which would make sense because Japan studio, but so here's some friends. The real god of the Dark Souls series. Magpies. Now, FromSoft loves... There's a couple of FromSoft specific tropes that, like, no matter the franchise they're in. For instance, Richard is usually the protagonist. Ravens are always in there. Armored Core, your mechs are called ravens. Velka's a raven. Ravens! Crows and ravens everywhere. Corvians, blah blah blah. Yeah. They love their birds. They love self-referencing. Moonlight, yeah. Ravens, Moonlight, Richard is the protagonist. Stuff like that. So, you might call it fan service, but I think it's just self-referencing. In New Game Plus, there's a jerk right above me who would be right there. Yeah, okay, sure. I got it. Get out of here. There's a lot of like self-references, and I think a lot of people mistook their self-referencing because they think it's funny for fan service, which maybe or maybe not. Ah! Damn it. Probably not. If you're used to SOFS, then I wouldn't go back to Dark Souls 2. It's like similar to Armored Core variants. If you don't like Verdict Day, then you'll probably like 5. But if you got really used to 5, then you're not gonna really like Verdict Day. Stuff like that. What SOFS changes is there's some mechanical cleanup, there's enemy differences and different placements. I use circle to jump, so booyah. Yeah, there's differences, but like Lobo's got really used to Dark Souls 2, the original, and so he doesn't really care much for SOFS, and I think that's fair. And I think if you are used to Dark Souls 2, you're not going to really care for it. Jeez, how did they confused Vanilla 5 for Verdict Day? I guess it's simple to do. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do it more in the Dark Souls universe. Yeah, probably not. I'm not that surprised, but I am surprised a bit. Let's see here. Gamescom is the end of August, and the weekend after that is Tokyo Game Show. If nothing shows up. And PlayStation Experience is a couple weeks before Gamescom. So if there's nothing announced in between then you've got another year. So I just wanted to mention about our sad ogre in snow over there. Really interesting. He's just staring at the coffin. It kind of makes me wonder what the ogres are, whether they're constructs created by Aldia or not. E3 is more an industry thing, and even though they opened up to the public for the first time, now mind the tickets for the public are a couple $100. It's still an industry thing, and it's still kind of a stockholder meeting a lot of the time. Yeah. I've been watching a lot of the Yakuza playthroughs, because I keep meaning to load up Yakuza 5 on the PS3 and I keep forgetting. But it reminds me of the karaoke that they do. He's about to break out into song about Nito and stuff like that. Also, here's more of those posts. They make an appearance in Bloodborne. They kind of make an appearance in Dark Souls 3. They're just kind of holding up the world. This jerk had to get petrified right in the middle. What a jerk. Huh, I am online. That's weird. Okay. Lighting starts fading in. There's a lot of twisting, turning, because they're masking unloading. Favorite change to SOFS? Probably the back half of the game. Like, my favorite part of Dark Souls 2 is everything after Shrine of Winter. The story of SOFS is where I really think it shines. I feel like it's just tighter and stuff like that. Grab the binoculars. I think because Dark Souls 2 becomes a narrative about people and about the struggle and their ultimate failure and what they're doing in the aftermath of that, is where I'm much more fascinated in the Dark Souls world, which is why I think like 2 and 3 story are my favorite bits, because while I appreciate like world building, I want to see what people do with that world, how they react to that world. And seeing the successes and the ultimate failures of the King of Drangleic, Vendrick, and Aldea, and seeing how they deal with that is super interesting to me. So let's talk to Academy Award nominee, Ruth Negga.
Are you the next monarch? Or merely a pawn of fate? Bearer of the curse, I will remain by your side till this frail hope shatters. Take this with you. May it ease your journey.
The pygmies are really... I liked what they did with the pygmies. It subverted what your expectations were, and I really liked that.
Appeared at the essence of the soul. King Vendrick. Bearer of the curse, seek misery.
So here's a question for chat.
Greater, stronger soul.
What is the soul?
You will never meet
Let's
the
talk
king
about
with a
that.
soul so frail and pallid.
They talk about it in 4 games, and they say how Vendrick and Aldea peered into the essence of that soul.
Their souls will serve as beacons.
And you're a vessel for souls in Dark 3.
Return here to me.
What is the
So that hope
soul?
will not fade away. Bearer of the curse,
Most of them. There is that one pygmy lord you meet in the beginning of the Ring City, on Mausoleum Outlook, who's like, "This is a facade. Please blow the lid on this overgrown privy. Thank you. Good night."
Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peers straight into the essence of the soul.
It's a philosophical question because the Ring City is a prison in a lot of ways for the Pygmies, because of Gwyn's sin of fear, and like you have to wonder whether, are you happy as a slave, are you happy as a prisoner if the prison is pretty? But in the end, you're still a slave and you're still a prisoner. With regard to the pygmy. Like, everyone's a slave, even the gods. But the gods are pretty much dead by the time Dark Souls 3 rolls around. Hurry! Yeah. Not here, you jerks. Well, maybe the pygmies had Stockholm syndromes. It's not like they accepted it eventually. I really gotta sit down and finish writing, or actually write and rewrite my next essay, because my next essay is about kind of the first flame and the last flame. And the last flame to me is humanity. Yeah, I kind of think, I have this really crack theory about Ludleth, that Ludleth was a pygmy. He got exiled, or he somehow left the Ring City, adopted Courland as his home, much like Henri adopted Stora, and decided to sit on the throne, because the thrones all say the truth, and it says Ludleth the Exiled. Maybe he wasn't exiled from Courland, maybe he was exiled from the Ring City. But that's kind of a crack theory, and I have zero evidence. Oh hey, there's been a lot of deaths worldwide. Let's talk to Crestfallen Bro, because he's cool.
You're undead, aren't you? You have that distinct scent, the smell of errand and southern fate. Yours is Majula. It is a kind of settlement, a place where life is almost normal. And in Drangleic these days, there are very few places like that. I am Sauldin. And like you, I lost everything. And now I'm here. You probably heard that it was possible to break the curse here.
I have a lot of crack theories. A lot of, like, just random observations.
That's not true at all. There's nothing here for you, me, or anybody.
So Sauldin wears armor very similar to Demon Souls, fluted armor. If you can't see it.
Do you know much about souls? Even I'm not certain, but I'm told that the soul is the essence of life itself.
Sauldin has something to say about the soul here.
Sentient or no, supposedly has one. What we call the curse is traceable to the soul. Do you see what that means?
Messes with some of the theories I said there, really kind of excitedly. But
and that's quite
what Sauldin kind of mentions here is that everything that's alive has a soul, but the curse comes from the soul. So having a soul makes you a carrier of the curse anyway. So it kind of fits in a lot with what, like, Aldia says, and Aldia says a lot of things about how all of this is a facade, and life. He makes the Macbeth reference to tomorrow, tomorrow, and tomorrow. Life is a poor player, walking shadow that struts and frets and prowls on stage and is no more. It is a told tale by an idiot. full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. And it's like, just being alive curses you with the curse of life. And I thought that maybe the curse isn't what we think of as the curse. The curse is being alive. And there's many different flames. Yeah, the thing I've been working on in kind of relation to what you're saying, Hunter M, is that there's at least 2 flames, maybe 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it. You've got the first flame, and then you've got the final flame, because if there's a first flame, there's got to be a last one. And the last one is the flame of humanity. And if we go back to Dark Souls 1 and look at how the flame sprites react to you, what they want to do is they want to consume you, they want to hug you, they want to touch you. Much like in the way of a flame. All a fire wants to do is to consume and devour. I also kind of give sentience to the first flame from my other essay, Mandate of Embers. It's kind of an Eastern thing, how the, quote, heavens has its own will, and then the gods has its own will, and for the most part they work in concert, but sometimes they don't. Whereas, like, Western religions don't really give the, quote, heavens its own, like, character or will. But if we give the first flame its own will, and then the last flame is humanity, then they're all kind of trying to devour everything in its path. There are probably some chumps. Gwyn probably owed, like, Velka money or something like that before they found the Lord Soul, and then Gwyn found the Lord Soul. So let's go grab some items. Punk skateboarders. Yeah.
Who are you? Oh, it doesn't matter. Just help me open this door.
One sec, guys.
I packed my tools in here, seeing it was vacant. And now somebody's gone and locked the door.
Alright, back. My dog got into a mess. So there is other flames, I think, too. I think Dark Souls 2 made a very mas or menos attempt at making the cold its own flame. That, like, in real life, if you get something really cold, you get freezer burn. I think they were working on that presumption also. So like the cold is its own fire, except it's cold. Gwyn sold out. Got the first plane. Got a cat.
Oh, undead are we? And one without much time remaining. Just about ready to fall apart, I'd say.
She looks like a Maine Coon.
Not exactly the time to be chatting with a cat.
With plenty of time to chat with a cat.
Well, suit yourself. Oh yes, you may call me Shalqua. Enchanté. So, what did you want anyway?
Rings.
Ooh, you smell wonderful.
I'm not catnip. Yeah, and I think, like I mentioned earlier, there's something to be said about the theme of greed throughout each of the Souls games. Like Bloodborne relies more on hubris than greed, but Souls itself is kind of a meditation on greed and power, and when you get power, you want more. I need 5,500 so I can grab people.
Nothing suited you, I presume.
Let's see if I even have it. Yeah. And he was guilty about it. Like, the furtive pygmy was guilty about it. Grab that Estus flax shard. Pigs, leave me alone, pigs. Leave me alone. This is lots. Yeah. So Prometheus stole knowledge from the gods, and his punishment was being tied to a rock and have his liver eaten by a, what was it, a hawk or a raven? One of the two. And likewise, the pygmies stole a lord soul from the flames and was tied to the ring city. Pigs? Actually, how much damage do you take from soul? Haha! Eat it, pig. Glad to know that magic is still really powerful. More undead bacon, please. Funny thing is, kind of as a joke, Elena will very rarely summon a bunch of pigs. It's pretty funny, actually. Let me keep harassing Sauldin so that he can give me that ring. I need to get 5,500 so I can start summoning people. So that's the object.
face name. Protection is it.
Truffle Run. Okay.
That is a wise decision.
Yep, thanks, Sauldin. Okay, so let's read the Flask. So we got a new one. The shard of an Estus flask. Shards are deeply soaked in Estus. Graft the shard to an Estus flask to increase flask uses. Over the ages, countless souls rested their bones as they drank from the original flask, and now this shard remains, serving as a vestige of their hopes and dreams. Amber herb, which I picked up somewhere, an annual herb with an amber color so deep it gives an impression of luminescence. Restores a small number of spell uses. It is the mistaken belief of many that the flowers of this herb do not blossom. However, small white flowers do blossom during dusk when the moon is visible. Now, this is kind of important to a question I asked during the end of the Bloodborne run as to what is Moonlight. Now, FROMSoft uses Moonlight as one of their tropes that they put in every game. But with regards to souls, what is Moonlight? Hey, Solarble. Very similar to the blossoming green, the green blossom, but it's amber. Cracked red eye orbs defeat the myth. The residual sins of those who have succumbed to dark temptations are contained in the form of the cracked red eye orb. Yeah, magic and sorcery are very, very, very closely aligned. See also Gwendolyn. Alright, let's get to Forest Fallen Giants. Make the... Actually... I like throwing that on number 1 and this on number 2. Yeah, Death, it's different, but yeah, miracles and spells aren't very different at all anyway. Especially if you're running cracked Talisman of Beasts. I think it's like a thematic point in Death particularly? What the heck is that? In particular, because Talisman of Beasts straight out says miracles and spells come from the old one, period. So Death's Moonlight is a bit different. And I think there's a connection between crystals and Moonlight itself. Oh, did I miss something? I did miss something. There is a thing over his ear. A divine blessing. This tree is Velka and or Guinevere. Oh wait, wrong one. Wrong way. That's what I get for making that joke. Where's the Fallen Giants? Probably not this many. When in doubt, everything is Velka. in New Game Plus, this is a mimic, which is why you get all these bloodstains. It's really mean of Dark Souls 2, actually. I thought Velka was all of the friends we made along the way. Let me through! Oh, I thought I could just cheat that a little bit. Whatever. Velka's a big bag of rocks, carried by Gwyn because reasons. So there's our rhino friend. And... you jerk. I was trying to look at rocks. Okay, back to looking at rocks. Neat particle effects. It might mean something more if you play Dark Souls 3, but this is all like embers. Just floating around. Maybe because this whole painting is just burning. If you subscribe to the theory that each Dark Souls game is in its own painting, and that there is no real world because it's paintings all the way down. Like turtles. So we finally get some hollow infantry boots. Which tell us that it's scrubbed tier boots. Jerks. They're all jerks. Soul of Lost Undead, Soul of Lost Undead. So let's take a look at the Skybox. Once again, FROMSoft doesn't make blue skies. Probably true that there's also no visible sun in the air. Like, you are aware that it's daytime and that light is coming from that direction, but it isn't like a sun. Mostly because Gwyn has been dead since Dark Souls 1. Maybe even before. So this is probably the outer reaches of Drangleic's fiefdoms. There's Drangleic Castle up there. You can pretty much see it from anywhere in the game, unless you're like underground, which is most of the game. But you can see Drangleic Castle. It's like a black spire in the air. Very Sauron-esque. But it's always kind of following you around. Sort of like the moon presence in Bloodborne, how the moon just kind of is right there, even though it doesn't really make sense for it to be kind of right there. Rude, dude. Fall damage doesn't work the same on enemies as it does on us. Aha, a short sword. Can I use that? No. Back to dagger. If you wanted to skip all of this, pretty much, you just drop down right here. As I understand it from Aegon, it's, that whole section is just a lot harder. Oh, am I out? Alright, time to use an amber herb, I guess. I'm still a ways from the, okay, 11? Fine. I think this is just, you know, a theory, but with this engine that they're using, and no, I don't think they really use this engine much outside of Dark Souls 2, this particular engine. They switched to a different engine for Bloodborne and then Dark Souls 3, but I think they were having a bit of an issue with effective unloading of world areas, because you know how they like loading in like 2 or 3 zones either before or after you, so that it seems like it's seamless, but I think they had some issues with loading different areas, so there's a lot of these underground locations, a lot of elevators, a lot of that to mask load times and stuff like that. So I think the world design is more a fault of the engine that they're using than like them deliberately making the game a bit more claustrophobic and underground like it is. So I think it's a weakness of the engine, given their like development hell with Dark Souls 2 and the pressure they probably felt because of a sequel. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of hallways, there's a lot of underground locations, there's a lot of elevators. BioWare uses elevators to mask load times pretty blatantly. Same with Mirror's Edge, the original Mirror's Edge. They used a lot of elevators to mask load times. And I have a suspicion that Dark Souls 2 suffered from that too. And they had to like make more linear, more underground locations. Like their design works doesn't really say whether or not they did, just that they fired their first director halfway through. Sneaking suspicion. Not sure if it's right or not. Let's poke this open. Yeah, 48. What was the original director's credits was like mostly Kingsfield stuff, right? I'll have to reset my spells. What is a soul? I think that's the question of the day. What is a soul? I think the fact that it looks like Melentia is breathing dark makes her more interesting than just, you know, standard vendor. Like when she moves her hands, it's a lot of dark. See, as she moves her hand has this dark miasma around it. She's also kind of a commentary on war profiteering, but Giants crossed the sea because Nashandra owed them money and refused to give them money back. Whoa! Oh. The hell hat are you wearing? And yeah, it could be stink lines, but I think everybody smells. Even Sauldin's like, you smell. Oh yeah, Lord Buckethead. So she carries the key, which I need to come get very soon. I already have Soul Arrow. Yeah, I know. I gotta be cheap, because I want to get some friends in. Dang it. Almost. Helm. Look at this guy trying to be cool. He's like, they don't see me. Hey Zizo, how's it going? There's the small white soapstone, which is useful because you can use it even after you beat the boss. Let me go harass some people over here. Well, here's my other thought about hollows in general. Kind of is inspired from the Ring City, a bit. That it's not that they're starved of souls. It's that the dark soul within them and the light soul within them are both at odds, and they both want the same thing. They want to consume. And a hollow is someone whose original soul in their identity, especially with Dark Souls 2, was consumed by either the dark soul within them, the little fragment that everybody has, or the light soul within them. And so if you want to keep yourself from going completely nuts, you have to continually feed it every once in a while with more souls. So like a hollow or a person becomes undead because it feels like people just kind of wake up and they're like, oh, I'm undead now. Well, that sucks. It's not like you like die the first time and you come back and you're like, oh, well. It's like you wake up one day and your soul is kind of devoured by the flame within you. And so you've got to keep taking pills or, you know, grabbing souls. That's kind of what I've been mulling over lately. Well, welcome. It's good to have you. Gotta go this way. Yo, I heard you like trees. Yeah, it's something I've been kind of working on. I'm not like completely settled on it though, but I don't have a bone. Yeah. And bigger souls feed you differently. And how you act as kindling for a flame that will always want more. Bye! That's a cool thought, that the souls are split pieces of the first flame in some way. Which way was the way back? Up. Aha. And you have different sorts of, you have different souls, different types of souls. You've got faded souls and souls of a lost undead, and you've got souls of a greater lost undead, and there's different types of it. So if you think of the fact that your soul is, it keeps needing to be stoked, like a fire keeps needing to get stoked, to keep yourself from going completely nuts, then I think it kind of makes sense. Alright, you guys, decide what god you want to be under, if you want to come and co-op. Kreml? Okay, before we head up Kreml, let's take a look at the gods we've got. We've got Nema, goddess of love. She is signified by an Estus. We've got Galib, god of desire, god of disease. I can't read today. What the heck? We've got Katha, who's got a green teardrop. Probably the combination of blue and red, but green teardrop. Kreml, god of struggle. We've got Evlana, goddess of the hunt, which is kind of interesting too, because Greek mythology, Diana is the goddess of the hunt. We've got Hanleth, goddess of bliss, with an arrow going upwards. Nahara Alma, god of blood. Zinder, god of desire, who is actually quite interesting to me, because they note Zinder as the god for both the gold and silver serpentis rings. I was mentioning in the Discord the other day that the gold and silver covetous serpent rings are probably representative of Cath and Frampt respectively. Frampt is the gold one, Cath is the silver one, and that in Dark Souls 2 they get conflated with one another as Zinder, a god of desire, or god of greed, more or less. God of want. Desire is a very palatable term for the same thing, of greed and want and stuff like that. I'm not sure how much else is mentions Zinder in Dark Souls 2, so that's something. Yeah, and Demon Souls and Dark Souls are kind of meditations on greed, so it kind of makes sense. The undead wants to live. The undead wants their identity. The undead wants to lift the curse. There's a lot of greed in Souls. Bloodborne leans more on hubris than greed, but Souls itself is a bit more on the greed tip. Quela, god of dream, and Kefri, goddess of fortune. And Kefri is symboled by the soul memory stuff. So there is that. So we'll do Kreml. And my current soul memory is 5590. Yeah, I think they're really similar. I think they're similar enough to be kind of the same thing, but I think there's some differences. Let me get back and pop my human effigy. See if anybody wants to come by. Let me first throw it on the comments thing. Advanced message. There. So I'll wait a few seconds, like a minute or so before I travel down. Another thing to note real quick is that the bonfires in 1, 2, and 3 are fueled by human bones, not wood, human bones. And what do bones make? Bones make blood. Bones have bone marrow in it, and that's where blood basically comes out of. And I think that makes a lot more sense with the Ring City and with the blood of Dark Soul needing to fuel the Dark Soul. I don't think it's so much the bones so much as it is the bone marrow within that fuels the fire that links back to the first flame. If you're looking to run with me for the community run, just let me know if you want me to catch up to you. Turtle shell! Look, it's Donatello! Okay, let's go down. So those guys are punks. I saw a really cool gif the other day of some guy who, like, ran right off the thing and then did a plunging attack on the fire salamanders. It's pretty baller looking. Ah. I thought I killed him. Guess no. Yeah, it's the bone marrow within that will, like, basically make blood. Oh yeah, that's Soldier Key. Look at this guy who thinks he's cool. He's like, I'm gonna watch this door, and whoever comes through this door, I'm totally going to pounce on. From Soft Humor 101. Here's another thing about blood. The bleed stat is connected to your hollowing, which is connected to luck, which is a stat effect unique to humans. Also poison, but it depends on what you think poison is in Dark Souls 3 in particular, because it's apparently slightly different in Dark Souls 2. Are you gonna throw? Come on. I should have just bought one. Well, there's nowhere to run. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to reset that. Green Blossom. Considering its importance in retrospect in Dark Souls 3, let's read it. Green weed shaped like a leafy flower. Temporarily boosts stamina recovery speed. At one point, this herb was avoided due to its unusually bitter taste, but once its effects became known, it was harvested to near extinction by merchants. Now, only exceptionally rare, wild specimens of this plant are left. It's kind of interesting that in each game, with the fading of the flame, the green blossom is nearly extinct in each game. Yep. Would you stop? Chill out. Take a sedative. Fine. There's a lockstone. Do I have one? No. Still need a sign in my own house saying does not open from this side. Yeah, and I like that the language of it is they call it a weed in Dark Souls 2, as though they like didn't really know its properties. Or didn't really care to know. And what is a weed, besides, you know, the terminology that they use for it is kind of derogatory, but like a weed grows very quickly everywhere it can get, and Filianor is associated with the green blossom, and at the start of each game the green blossom is pretty much rare. Even in Dark Souls 3 it's described as rare.
Hello there.
So let's talk to Pate, this jerk.
Well, I hope you have a very good reason.
I'm going to kill you.
Hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of...
Apparently this guy is a very big fan of Dark Souls 1, and so he went and asked Daniel Flynn to be in Dark Souls 2, probably.
Travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther.
He was in EastEnders, like right beforehand or something.
There for certain. The entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design.
Pate, also known as Mean Patches.
Contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see.
He even has a spear.
He insisted that he go inside first.
Although he's wearing the Grave Robber from Demon Souls' apparel.
It trapped him inside. I still have the gem's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed.
Psycho.
I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside. I'll leave this one to...
Jerk. Yeah, Grave Robber Blige. Ah, dang it. There. And, how many of you guys have played Demon Souls? I assume you guys all have. Blige, wasn't, like, Pate, but they were both kind of shady. I want to stream Demon Souls, but I gotta get an Elgato. Yeah, I want to do something for Demon Souls, but I'm not quite sure what. Alright, so nothing that way. You guys keep hammering away at that tree. I'm sure it'll die sometime.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits.
Yeah, leave Gundyr alone, man.
Like yourself.
Jerk. New Game Plus, there's a turtle right here. It's really annoying. This is a bad idea without any soul arrows, but... So, if you see here, there's a hollow who doesn't have a body. He just has a shadow. And if you shoot him, or he drops a smooth and silky stone. Is that... I don't know if that's addressed by the lore, like, at all. That there are these hollows who are so hollowed they even forgot their body for a time. That they're just shadows. Maybe they have sunk into the abyss and, like, smacking their shadow around gets them. There's too many guys down there for me to... without any soul arrows. Yeah. And so, like, again, with the Ring City, we get a lot of talk about people sinking into the abyss. You know, why couldn't you do that when I wanted you to do that? Oh shoot. Damn it, I'm dead. Yeah. So there's some of that happening on. Yeah. Pop another effigy eventually, but go get my souls. Yeah. I should see if I can't attune Great Soul Arrow. Yeah, that's Soldier's Key. Oh hey, a firebomb. I don't have to go buy one. Sweet. Pick that up. Firebomb. See what we can see up here. Oh, I should attune. Only one? See how this works against Pursuer. My crack theory is that Pursuer is actually patches, but in hollowed out patches. Because Lap uses the Pursuer's shield. Nah, this is... pretty good, actually. I was out of soul arrows anyway, so I wasn't sure what I was going to do after that. I need the versatility of having more soul arrows. Alright, well. Oh, I'm hitting L1 by mistake. Casting speed is a bit faster from like just playing with it for the first time because I haven't played with Magic in DS2. It feels about a little faster at the outset than Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is a bit slower at the outset until you start pumping decks and get your Witch Tree or your Belvine on your offhand or something like that. It's more about keeping your spacing when you're fighting a boss like Pursuer, who's pretty much all melee. So you want to keep your spacing and you want to know kind of... Hey, Mimton. I'll get to DS3 soon. Now, the fact that I'm on this dagger I don't like. It's a bit too close for my comfort. Magic is kind of ridiculous in Demon Souls. It's ridiculous in Kingsfield, too. It's like, all you really need is some magic in Kingsfield. Some of the Kingsfield games. Right. God, was it? It was super disgusting in Demon Souls. Don't think so. Like, DS3's bandit knife? I don't think so. The bandit in this game starts with an axe. Infusions work a bit differently in DS2 than they do in Dark Souls 3.
To see light, however.
You didn't even need to have the stats for a catalyst. See also the Talisman of Beasts. Yeah. The famous thing was Talisman of Beasts cracked with Cursed Weapon from Uria, and you were pretty much done. You were pretty much okay. Soldier's key is... oh. Yeah, and then you can stack it, so the effects stacked neatly on top of one another. like, you could basically just sit in the Valley of Defilement's plague area and just not care. Sigh. Spear. I want another ghost story. Put it under the Echo Knight banner. Just give me another ghost story. But Armored Core should be one of the games that they're working on. I feel some solidarity with my Armored Core bros, who've been waiting for like 8 years for their 19th game. Jeez, I can't believe there's 19 games in Armored Core. Or 18. Sort of like Nier Automata, Hunter M. I just heard somebody parry somebody. Friend? Is that an audio glitch or what? Weird. That'd be neat. Sort of like their Metal Wolf Chaos to Armored Core. Which I guess is just kind of a self-parody of Armored Core. Self-parody some souls. Oh, the S-Talk in this game is so bad. Isn't Pate supposed to be here? Anybody wants to put down our summon sign, go ahead. Or yell if you're going to. I think I've seen that fan art. I have to look later on. I'm actually sitting on the floor. My computer is like 5 feet to my left on a desk. Because that's where computers go. Alright, no one coming? Let's go deal with an angry dude. He thinks we owe him money. I guess not. Yeah. It's funny how Code Vein is gonna get marketed as a Souls-like, but it's gonna be a, Yeah. I sit on the floor to play video games, but my desk is over there. It feels like they tried to rely more on the time is convoluted thing. A bit more. Oof. I dodged wrong. The heck? If you like God Eater, then you will like Code Vein. They're gonna market it as a Souls-like, but it's a God Eater game. So if you like God Eater, you're gonna like Code Vein. I deserve that. God Eater is kind of Monster Hunter, but I'm not sure. I want to play Monster Hunter World though. I was pretty intrigued by that. I've heard so much about Monster Hunter, and my editor, Assaulter Bob, who you might know from the Discord because he's a mod on Discord. When Demon Souls was being a thing on, because he heard about Demon Souls before Atlas picked up the rights for North America on Something Awful, and he imported the South Korean version back in the day. And when he always liked to say that when he was describing Demon Souls to people, he said it was a Monster Hunter like. Thanks, Sonic Dave. So there's some similarities, and I was digging around in FromSoft's over the other day, and I found out that FromSoft made a Monster Hunter game in Japan for the PSP. Apparently it was very cute. At least the cover is very cute. Yeah, for some reason, like, Monster Hunter became like a handheld game for a long time. So it's really exciting to see that Monster Hunter World is going to be a thing on consoles and PC. And so it'll be a lot of fun. So let's do some level ups. Yeah, it's going to be on... Monster Hunter World is going to be on PC. So one level will give me 2 slots. That's cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So we'll do 5 levels in ADP. 5. And then 4 more here. No, 2 more. And then 2 more there. That should be fine. So now I can attune that one too. You know what? E3 was really weird. Like, Sony decided to have like this glorified sizzle reel as their conference, but then have their real conference spread over 3 days on live.playstation.com, where they actually announced interesting things in the traditional like way. So it made everything look a little lackluster. I mean, I was bracing for a 2009 redo, but didn't expect it to be like that. Nah. Actually, I was interested because I actually like Batman Arkham Knight, and the combat for Spider-Man seemed very Arkham Knight, which intrigued me, because I liked the combat from Arkham Knight, even though I could never get that one trophy done. Brutality 101. I wasn't really interested the year before. I'm like, oh, it's Spider-Man, whatever. But the gameplay actually intrigued me. Because they announced Spider-Man like the year before, but it was a CG trailer, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Oh, no, I thought I could just fall down. No, go have a pizza or something. Jeez. It's probably their biggest second-party game. There's my problem with the lock-on. Lock-on in DS2 is very hyperactive. Uh-oh. I think I made somebody mad. Run away! It's their biggest second-party game, probably coming out within the next couple of financial quarters. Do you see that luck, you guys? That luck. That's not going to happen ever again. I was actually more surprised, not that FROMSoft didn't have a sizzle reel announcement, because I don't think even Dark Souls 3 had an announcement at one of the conferences. I was more surprised that like Sucker Punch didn't have something to show. And E3's been getting kind of gutted over the years. Like there's PC, PlayStation Experience that comes up like a week or two after. missed it. Armor, Dennis. I got some leather goods. No, lock on, please. Stop being a jerk. Yeah, his magic defense is stupid high. Doo-doo. It's all about the jukes, you guys. It's all about the jukes. I'm so gonna die very, very soon. Yeah, there it is. Oh, this new game called Skyrim. I hear you can play it on a Switch and a toaster. I should Twitch Bethesda and be like, "Hey, can you get Skyrim to run on my computer?" What bonfire is this? I did not find this on my last playthroughs. I think there's dragons in it. Where does he spawn in at? Yeah, super dead. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. Almost at him. I hear there's dragons. I want somebody to unironically call Skyrim a Souls-like. Alright, I have an idea for Dennis. And it doesn't involve throwing him off the cliff. I just have to start hitting him. Yeah, I should probably do that. Probably switch them. I'm not good at menuing though, so probably switch them before Pursuer. Alright, so I'm going to switch bonfires, switch my weapons around, and then figure out what to do next. I want to read the whip, though. Whips should be interesting. I need to sit down with an Excel spreadsheet, because I've been wanting to collate all of the descriptions that appear in all three games together. Just to see how they differ. Same thing as in Dark Souls 3. Okay. No need to go read that. Everything is a Souls-like, even stuff that came before. Even Kingsfield. Yeah, I still can't use it, like, much of anything. Alright. Alright, where to now? Oh, nice. I saw a little bit of that played, and I definitely want to pick that up. I'm also super interested in this game called Vampire. Spelt in the E old way, not like IRE. There's the Grand Lance. Yeah, Epic Name Bro, or Marcus, he was playing it the other day, and that's where I saw it, and he said that it was very Metroid-like. Not Metroidvania, but just Metroid-like. I'll come deal with you later. Yeah, it looked really cool. I like the art style. It's very cute. There's the Ring of Restoration, which I need to stick on. Oops. That was, not good. Eep. This sucks. Yeah, Hollow Knight definitely seems like a game I want to play. Oh, I don't have a parry shield active. There. Hi, Not Patches. I had a bad dodge, and it killed me. Bandit's Knife in this game do anything new or different from DS3? Does it still do bleed damage? I don't really like it. Salt and Sanctuary? From what I've seen, I'm just not interested in it. I don't like the art style. I don't like some of its combat choices. Oh, damn it. Ah, dang it. I still wish we could get, like, his armor. His armor's pretty cool. "10,000 swords." Basically, the pursuer is a floating throne of swords from Game of Thrones. I had some bad dodges there. Doo-doo. What really hurts is having no hair. Dang it, just as after I hit my... That's angering. So close. Yeah, Pursuer's a bit... Yeah, they're so rude. So Rude. In New Game Plus, there's a phantom that spawns in right there. It's pretty rude. It's a rude dude. With a tood. I thought I'd miss. And party time. Puns. Lorethrough. Okay, so Pursuer. So let's talk a little bit about the Pursuer. So the Pursuer. Let's go read his soul. Soul of the Pursuer who lurks in Drangleic. The Pursuer who seeks the bearer of the sign will not rest until his target is slain. Use the special Soul of the Pursuer to acquire numerous souls, or to create something of great worth. Now, does this mean that there's only one person who bears the sign in this age, or is it more than one and he pursues all of them? Much like Brador, who's also a jerk. If you beat him on the platform with the Estus Flask, you will skip this whole boss fight because he will not appear. Because you've taken his soul. Without his soul, he's a bit more dangerous. And he will show up like 4 times in the Lost Bastille. 3 or 4 times. And he'll show up right after Smelter Demon in the Smelter Demon room. And then he does some extra stuff. He's a lot more cursed on those encounters. He has some more some different moves. Again, probably because we have his soul. So he will not rest until the bearer of the sign. And from the language it uses, it's probably us, but he probably pursues all of them. And then he starts really attacking us because we have his soul and he probably wants it back. I like the idea of the pursuer. Gets a little annoying though. He overstays his welcome. So we will be here later. There's a big sword there. And a hat. A head. Kind of looks like Benhart, but bigger. And we fight a giant up around here who somehow falls right through and gets buried under some stuff and doesn't like it. Yeah, bigger Benhart. Benhart, the real king of Drangleic. So, this is kind of where the game gets too much into its time is convoluted stuff, because apparently the giant that we kill in a memory back in time remembers us, even though we don't know who the heck he is or why he's so mad that we stole his money. Still, I kind of really like the environmental design here. It's cool. If you can parry Pursuer, which is a lot easier than it feels like, you can parry him right about here, which is why there's a mark here. You can parry him right about here, and he will stun for a while, and you can use the trebuchet on him. And you can parry him like over here, and do the same thing over here. And if you do it twice, you only have to hit him like 2 or 3 times before he's dead. But I don't have my nipple shield on me, so let's go. Fine work, guys. So yeah, it's collapsed in on itself there, and it's grown moss, so it's been a while. And like, I've been kind of playing with the idea that time isn't so much convoluted as it so much doesn't matter. Because once you become undead, you're effectively immortal, and it's probably why you never see the time change, because why would an immortal guy see the time change? Because time doesn't really matter at all to you anymore. There were some crows. I throw my Nox on. Oh, I did have a nipple shield. How about that? So that should be the beginning of the fourth of the fallen giants. And those are all like crows. FROMTropes loves crows. Let's see here. What else can we see? There's Drangleic Castle, because it's always kind of in the background. Bigger Ben. And Pursuer, again with like the Pursuer, there's kind of some similarities between the Pursuer and the Herald Knights, because and late game Lothric Knights. The Lothric Knights and the Herald Knights share the same fate in that they sink into the abyss, which is why they don't have heads in the lower Lothric. Because just like the Herald Knights, they all got kind of sunk into it. Because the truth of the matter, in regards to Lothric, is that the Abyss has already won, kind of. And the power of being a Lord of Cinder allows that to, like, be masked so that you can lie to yourself. So lower Lothric has already kind of sunk into the Abyss, and the Lothric Knights have already been pretty much sucked into the Abyss. In the same way that the Herald Legion was. They similarly don't have heads. See if I give you a 5 on Uber, you stupid crow. I'm not going to give you a 5 on Uber at all. Jerk. Did you guys see how he dropped me off? Uber's going to have a piece of my mind. Yeah. It's the same thing with the Herald Knights. The Herald armor, they're being puppeted by a tiny their Dark Soul that came back up from the Abyss. They're like little bits of Dark Soul. It's just their armor. In a lot of the same way. It's very similar that way. And except the Herald Knights have been around for a lot longer than the Lothric Knights, so like you don't see the Lothric Knights rising up because they're still being pretty much devoured by the Abyss Flame or the Dark. So we've hit 3 hours, so that'll probably be the end of this session. Let me get some level ups from the Emerald Herald. And we'll get to the Emerald Herald a little later, because it makes a bit more sense to talk about her when you have all the pieces just kind of together. Let's throw some endurance on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. So let's put 4 more here. 2, 3, 4. That'll be fine. So, before I call it a night and sign off, does anyone have any observations or thoughts from what we've seen so far, what we've gone back over? I'm gonna check to see if we have, oh right, I have to open the door. And take his stuff. So how Melentia found his key is beyond me. Anything else I need to read? I don't think we've read the human effigy. Peer closely at an effigy and one begins to perceive a human form, but whose form it takes depends on the one looking. And the Herald Knights actually look like huge versions of the human effigies. Divine blessing, which we did not read. Water, blessed by an ancient goddess. Her name is long forgotten, and the Magic Academy of Melfia denies even her existence. In any age, there are those who refuse to see reason. It is their meddling that distorts the truth. And as with the passage of time, people will take, you know, thoughts, and then they will be skeptics. I mean, there's the flat earthers who think that Earth is flat, even though common wisdom is it isn't. Melfia denies even her existence because it's been so long that there's no proof of it. So they're like, she doesn't exist. Even though the divine blessing itself is probably proof enough. It's just something that happens with the passage of time. People will take beliefs and thoughts and thinking and mythology, and then they will distort it to fit their current worldview or politics. Go ahead, Hunter M. That's what we're here for rambling and for talking and all of that. The Witching Urn is a magic damage fireball thing. Kind of wish it was in DS3 because I kind of like it. Black Firebomb. Aromatic Ooze, which is the sticky white stuff from Demon Souls. Or Magic Pine Resin in DS3. Does the same thing. Magic damage on a weapon. Yeah. Hunter M, you should get a medium account. I'll follow you. Medium is very useful for big long essay dumps. Especially so you don't like lose it in the bowels of YouTube. Because I was pretty much writing a lot of the same like lengths on Bloodborne LTLs, and I'm like, oh, I have a Medium account. I should just put them there. Yeah. Dark Souls 1, I believe Dark Souls 2. I have to get some hexes, but Dark Souls 1 pretty much out and out says that the sorceries using humanity have weight to them, where pure soul sorceries do not have weight to them. So, like, that fits in pretty well with what you said, that the physicality of the Dark Soul is its main defining trait. And that fits, because all of the dark magic is like, humanity has weight to it, period. Agitated Tachyon. Nice to see you. Thanks for the follow. Oh, I should go buy some things from Valencia real quick so that I can drag her over here. Yeah. And I think that's probably like the biggest difference between the quote humanity fire that I've been playing around with in my head and like the first flame. Like they both are after sort of the same thing. And I'm gonna pick this up because it's cool looking. And regular fire, like the first flame. Yeah. Yeah. And like their moveset is not overtly hostile. Actually, it's like they want you to join their family. They want you to join them, to be like with them. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Okay, I'll deal with that for now. Yeah, and they want you to join them, to be part of their family, but because they're kind of a form of like fire, for less of a better term, like they burn you when they touch you, because humanity fire is the same as the first flame in that they want to consume. They want you to join with them. And so there's some sense to me, there's some sense for me for that they want to consume you, to make you join with them as part of one being, or as one being, if that makes sense. I'm still kind of working on that theory in and of itself. That's neat. I asked, also rocks, yeah. I mean, with computers, we trick the rock into thinking, so there is that. But, yeah, that was one of my big questions. I have, like, a couple of big questions for the audience, and some people have been posting on a couple of my Bloodborne videos about it. A, what is a dragon in Souls? What does it mean to be a dragon in Souls? B, what's Moonlight, either in the full unified body of work of FROMTropes, or just in Souls, or even just in Bloodborne. Sorry. And some of the big themes, and the biggest theme for me for Souls in particular is what is a sin, and that's super interesting to me. Velka demonstrates what some sins are in DS1. Sins aren't completely changed in DS2. In fact, I think they're a bit expanded. And then, like, both versions come to a head with 3. Yeah. So, 3 hours. Mostly because I gotta watch all of this back so I can timestamp it. I'm going to call this an episode. I probably won't stream tomorrow. I have a friend from out of town gonna be up here. I'll probably stream on Sunday. Continue on with probably No Man's... Actually not. Probably Hades Tower of Flame. And then get into No Man's Wharf, because I probably really do need to get Carhelion sooner rather than later. So, here's my soul memory for right now, 37,430. If you want to be summoned in, we will still be on Kreml next time we stream. Yeah, so if you want to get yourself set up for that. Super fun. Have a great night. Thanks for joining me. And let's choose my things. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a good night.